My name is John Putch, and I am studying forensic psychology at Stockton College. My objective in this video is to educate you about psychopaths and the roles that they play in our society. First off, I would like to clear up how society portrays a psychopath to be. Not all psychopaths are cold-blooded killers. In fact, Dr. Robert Hare, who pioneered the psychopathic checklist, states that Edward Gein is amongst the clinically insane killers. But who was Edward Gein? Edward Gein was a man who raped, murdered, mutilated, and sometimes ate his victims. Edward Gein is the man who inspired films like Silence of the Lambs and characters like Hannibal Lecter and movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, when we talk about individuals like this, and in these movies they refer to him as a psychopath, but that simply is not true, because amongst Edward Gein's trial, he was found as a chronic schizophrenic and not a psychopath. So society likes to refer to these crazy people as psychopaths, but really they're not. So what is a psychopath? Well, I like to break the terms psychopath and sociopath up because a lot of people use them interchangeably, but they're really not to be confused. So over here we have psychopath. Dr. Robert Hare defined psychopath as a group of, a cluster of personality traits and social deviant behaviors. And over here we have sociopath. Sociopath, and a lot of sociologists and criminologists will use terms like social factors from their environment and early adolescent years of an individual to define a sociopath. Underneath the two, we have APD, or antisocial personality disorder. Now, APD can feed into both of these categories, but they're not. APD is not to be confused with as psychopath or sociopath. Now, a lot of criminals have been able to meet the criteria for APD, but we can't say that all criminals are psychopaths, because that's simply not true. Dr. Lisa Cohen wrote in Psychology Today, in verbatim of Dr. Hare's research, that 50 to 75% of the inmates that she studied had met the criteria for APD. So, does that mean we can say that almost 75% of the inmates are psychopaths? No, that is not true at all. Because what she also found is that 15 to 25% made the cutoff for psychopathy. So you can tell that APD feeds into both psychopathy and sociopathy. So, what kinds of crimes do we find psychopaths committing? Well, psychopaths can commit any sort of crime they so choose, from petty theft, treason, to even murder. Now, how are they able to commit such crimes? Well, I'm going to get into that a little bit later. First, I want to give you some statistics of the crimes that they are able to commit. We find that 50 to 75%, not 50 to 75%, about 50% of serious crimes or felonies are committed by psychopaths. 50% of serial rapists are psychopaths. In 1992, the Federal Bureau of Investigations found that 50% of the law enforcement agents that were killed that year were done by the hands of psychopaths. Now, what is this saying for the psychopath? How are they able to commit such horrible crimes? Crimes that have normal people thinking they can't even fathom it. But how are they able to do it? Well, the answer is quite simple, but not simple at all. I pulled an excerpt of an article from The Brain of a Killer from the Neuroscience Fundamental Group, stating that the reason why psychopaths are able to commit such horrible crimes is because in the psychopath's brain, in the frontal cortex region, which is responsible for personality, decision-making, empathy, remorse, guilt, the brain in that area is thinning. It's thinned. And now normal people do not have this thinning, but psychopaths do. And because of the thinning, all these things, remorse, empathy, guilt, decision-making, or the process that they use it for, they don't have it. It was never there. So this is why we find psychopaths committing such violent crimes, because they can, and they don't feel the reasons why normal people feel they can't do it. So when you ask a psychopath, well, why'd you do it? And they say, well, why not? I wanted something they had, so I took it. And that's it. Dr. Robert Hare stated that psychopaths will use violence actually as a technique to control people. Psychopaths are very glib, superficial. You'll find this in the psychopathic checklist. They don't have a problem manipulating people and conning them out of their money. They don't feel that they're going to have any effects of this afterwards in their life. They don't see that. They never will see that. But how can we protect ourselves from psychopaths? Well, let's think real quick about how many psychopaths there are in the world. Only about 1 to 3% of the entire Earth's population is made up of psychopaths. And about 100,000 psychopaths exist in North America today. So, can we say that our chances of meeting them are good? No, we can't. They're actually quite slim, but they're possible. So what is our best defense and what we can do when we meet a psychopath? Well, in reality, you probably will not even realize you've met a psychopath until they've conned you and took all your money. Because that's what they do. They even are able to con experts without them even realizing it. But can we say we have a defense? Yeah, a little bit. Probably our best defense is using our understanding and conscious reasoning, something that they don't have. Thank you.